Hello, and welcome to episode 35 of the DomJake podcast. I'm your host, Dominic.
And I'm your other host, Jake. So what do we have in store today, Dom?
So I was thinking, a while back we did an episode about retail stores, right? But
Correct.
there's another layer that's involved in retail, and this can take place in an outdoor setting or an indoor setting.
Or in a strip setting. Huh?
Yeah, if you're an adult, but we've seen these in movies over the years, particularly in the 80s. The thing I'm going to talk about today are like malls, or what is known as the American Mall, and how it rose and fell over the years. And I gave Jake the task to research a local mall, and we've been to as kids. Let's just say it's now a bit of a shell of its former self.
Indeed. Did you want me to start with the local one, or did you want to get into your stuff first?
I do have some things to talk about. I mean, what a mall is, it's
Yeah, we can
essentially...
start from the beginning. Yeah, let's do that.
Unless you've been living under a rock, a mall is essentially a line of stores, like probably not even like the full version of it. It's literally or sometimes known as an express version of a store, such as Best Buy Express. But these are just like, instead of going from, like this state to another just to go to that one store, you can just go to like these stores that's in a strip of stores. And particularly they're indoor malls. Sometimes there's an anchor store, and like I said earlier, there's like a whole line of stores next to each other, whether they're full stores or just the smaller versions of big retailers.
What would an anchor store be?
Well, it's the it's like their flagship store. I'm sure most notably JCPenney and Sears, like those are kind of their like very flagship stores.
The ones that rake in the big bucks.
Yeah, definitely. And then, well, if you decide, I'm hungry, I kind of want to go somewhere. Well, you don't have to really go anywhere. There's a whole food court there.
Definitely spent a decent amount of meals there, I would say. I mean, I don't think I've paid for any of them because these were before I had, I guess, my own money, but I've certainly had a fair share of things there, yeah.
Yep. These could range from just some kind of mom and pop little rest area to not rest area, but a little mom and pop little restaurant to your typical fast food chains. Really not much else to say. I mean, this was popular at a time, let's just say when our parents were either teenagers or still little elementary school kids.
And I'll say to an extent, it was also popular when we were elementary age. I just think it started to kind of peter out in maybe 15. Maybe 2015 was like the last like popular era.
I mean, I think it was... we can say that online shopping did something to it, but even just in general, malls altogether, even outside of online shopping, I don't know, they're starting to fall out of style.
Because really, it's interesting you bring up online shopping. That is, I would say, the reason why malls all around, I'm going to say America, but likely other places as well, are just slowly petering out, right? Wow. You're closing one, demolishing another, repurposing another.
Mm-hmm.
It does kind of get sad because we're losing like a bit of history there. And unless if someone's in like a history class, they're not necessarily going to just spend a while researching one building, right?
Well, speaking of that, I did have you task a local mall, which I think I'll let you talk about right now, and then I'll give you my thoughts after.
All right, so the way that I will do this is it is popular. It is a popular place. So yeah, let me first say that I will be saying the name of the place as it is somewhere that both of us have been before, but it is, at least from where I am, quite a bit of distance away. I don't know how closer you are, but maybe you're further, maybe you're closer. I don't know. But the name of the mall is the the Crystal Mall, which is located in nestled in Waterford, Connecticut. It has a rich history dating back to its development by New England Development in 1984. Initially, it stood as the sole regional mall in the area, featuring anchors like Sears, JCPenney, Filene's, and Jordan Marsh, later becoming Macy's in 1996. This establishment brought about fierce competition for smaller shopping centers, leading some, like the nearby New London Mall, to transform into lifestyle centers. After a decade of operation, Crystal Mall underwent a substantial renovation in 1997, refreshing its interior design with a brighter color scheme, a remodeled food court like you were mentioning before, and improved lighting and fixtures. Despite criticism for its aging exterior, the mall maintained a prominence as a retail hub. Over the years, however, the retail landscape shifted, with Filene's closing in 2006 and the subsequent entry of Christmas tree shops and Bed Bath& and Beyond as anchors in '08. However, the 2020s witnessed a series of closures, starting with Sears in 18, followed by Macy's in 21, Bed Bath& and Beyond in 22, later relaunched as a digital-first format, and Christmas tree shops in 2023.
Oh, I'll miss that store.
It definitely had a lot of things. It was just one of those places that I think mom liked to waste money at, right? Like, just the fact of here's one thing that I could say about malls, especially back in the day, I should say, even before our times. In the 80s and 90s, I did say this earlier, but it brought fierce competition to smaller shopping centers, which that made it so those mom and pop shops either had to adapt, maybe join the forces and rent out a place in the mall, or let's just face it, get shut down and no longer in service, right? They just forced a closure on some certain places. Of course, there's nothing better than shopping local. You hear the same sort of response when it comes to Amazon shopping, right? People like to say, "Go local" or "Don't go at all," right? But the mall kind of made it so those small places were snuffed out. If they didn't succeed, they were gone. All because of this new popular concept of a big building with a bunch of different places in it. So you park once in order to buy 50 places, right? That must have been terrible for the mom and pop shops. However, we're living in a day and age where the mall's experiencing that exact same.
Now it seems like mom and pops are kind of resurfacing.
To an extent, yeah, I believe the small places are kind of getting that good sentiment, and this goes back to the Amazon stuff of, well, I'd rather give my money to someone who I know, maybe not someone that you know, but someone that you could say, you lived in this community. We bond over that. So I know that this source is coming from somewhere local. It's not coming from, oh, Tunisia, which is then shipped out to China, which is then shipped out to Boston, which is then shipped out to our stores, right? Causing a markup because of all of the different hoops it had to
Yeah.
jump through in order to get here, right? So we're starting to kind of have payback when it comes to the mom and pop shops being able to say, "Hey, these are my customers again."
So, haha. So
It's
yeah, take a
kind of a
picture of
vicious
this.
cycle,
Yeah, karma for them.
a little bit.
Yeah, they've definitely had a lot. This year, unfortunately, we did have another big announcement, which would you like to give it away?
The final blow came on February 9th, 2024, when JCP, for those of you not in the know, JCPenney, announced its closure at the end of spring of 2024, leaving the Crystal Mall without any remaining anchors and essentially transforming it into a dead mall. This evolution reflects the changes and transformations about that retail landscape, transformations that the retail landscape has undergone over the years, showcasing the dynamic nature of Crystal Mall's journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's sad, but you know what? It's true. This isn't
but
saying that the mall is shut right now. It's just it. Let's just say it's a fish out of water at this point. It's
I mean,
flopping around for a bit.
I mean, yeah, it's like that fish that's like just got caught and now it's just on the deck, just flopping away. I keep hearing things whether they're gonna permanently go away forever, or I'm also hearing that they also might put in like they fill in the gaps of those empty stores. So which I hope that's the case. If they can lower the rent there, that would be awesome.
I mean, speculation is speculation until something actually happens.
That's the only thing I'm.
We would have no idea what is happening until something is actually happening. Because even something like a Facebook post that says, "Here's what's going to happen in 5 years," if it's made by someone who's not in charge, you could just flag that as a speculation sort of thing.
Hmm.
It's
So I don't
unless
know.
if we know it's not gonna happen, right?
I
Um,
mean, we might. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I hear mixed things about it. So like we might still be here, but who knows?
I mean, I could say that the mall might turn into a university, but like a university building, because
Or
it's happened before. There are malls that closed down and became university buildings.
I also have heard things about it turning into an Amazon warehouse, which I
That'd
don't
be
know.
very sad, but very ironic.
I
If
would.
Amazon shuts it down because everybody's ordering the stuff that they would get there, but
It's with
it turns into the warehouse at the end of the day. Oh, that would
but
suck.
I mean that would suck. But yeah.
Something I think that they should do is a international market there. I really think that, and this would be like Asian cuisines, UK cuisines, African cuisine, just import everything, or maybe even have it so it's like a farmers market part two, right? Like just different food things. Some of it local, some of it imported. But like you could actually get Hungarian cuisine if you wanted to, right there. Maybe even the fishermen would go and have like a fish market there. Just and then a bunch of parking space. So what better way than put different food trucks there, different just things there, right? And I'm thinking it should have like a big food sort of thing, because guess what? Food is something that doesn't exactly disappear. I mean, well, the town doesn't like popcorn as it did in the 80s, so you know what? The popcorn place went down or whatever, but overall, people are gonna have it for like ever. People are gonna have like fried chicken forever. And then so it's like a vegan substitute that tastes very damn near close. Then have a more sustainable practice. And they could do it whenever. But to an extent, too, on the other hand, of, let's just face it, the rise of prices with everywhere but your wallet, apparently. Everything rises except for your pay.
Like rent. Yep. So another part of their closure before we move on, location of where it is.
Being, great.
At the same time, though, there's still a number of people there.
It is a decent place in terms of you can leave the highway and it's like right there. But it's also one of those things where it's like, people don't like how noisy it can get. Or just, it might be in a place because it's, let's face it, that area is not really a neighborhood of houses. It is, I would say, more an industrial area. It's for like businesses. Nobody's gonna live like right next to that mall.
Because the noises and stuff. If the mall was probably located in a city, then I'm sure there would be a lot. It would be a lot more.
It would a little bit more. I have things that are called department stores, which more or less are kind of the same thing as malls. It's just malls, I think, have a little bit more to offer, but department stores are something where it's like, go to the 5th floor for everything Christmas related. Go to the 6th floor for everything,
for like
outdoor pets. Right, sure. Go to this floor for whatever thing.
Or go to the 8th floor for your hardware wood shop needs. Yeah,
that's fine. Etc. etc. We get it at this point, but
all right. So what else do you have here?
But department stores are a system in which it does definitely work for a city because, well, usually it's this one thing, this one part of this block that's nothing in the way because, well, we could just go around it and it doesn't take that much longer to go around that one building just to get somewhere, right? So it works in the cityscape, but since it's not really a city, right? That location where it's not like an apartment building right next to because it's sprawled out. It's not up. It's not vertical horizontal, right? It's a wide area. Cities, which means it's to kind of walk around it ever. That whole parking lot would take like an hour and a half or something to walk from one end to the other. I don't know. Maybe just an hour, but a considerable amount.
You're gonna be walking.
Because my mom has mall before for straight up just like exercising sort of things. It's a convenient place to meet up with different people and just be like, I'm gonna walk around the mall a little bit, right? Like just for an activity that people can be like, hey, let's meet up at this one location to do this one thing.
Yeah.
Now she can only do the types of that mall with her, with her pals. Imagine four of them went outside and did the whole parking lot. That's bigger. That's a lot. But no, while the documented history and physical transformations of the Crystal Mall are well documented, there exists an unexpected phenomenon that's tied to the mall's mystique. Numerous reports suggest that there's a shared lucid dream experience among individuals, where many find themselves beginning their dreams in the same exact spot within the mall. Strikingly, Regardless of the diverse activities dreamers engage in, the outcome remains eerily consistent. You ever heard about
Uh, I'm this honestly.
that? I mean, it's like, I guess, doing like paranormal or like maybe like crime sort of
Oh wait.
atmosphere, but it's
Okay.
this thing where if you one at least someone who remembers their dreams and can vividly like see them, if they had a
Okay.
dream of the crystal mall, they'd be like, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah, I could definitely see this, and this can apply to really any place that they've been to thousands of times.
That's of an assumption, but this experience is also shared with people who have never been there. People who have
Oh,
been to a mall have dreamed about the Crystal Mall. I feel like
specifically this.
it's like I'm not talking personally, but I'm pretending I'm someone else, right? Like I've dreamed about this big mall. I've never even been at a mall. Whenever someone's like, "Oh, do you mean this mall? Is this the location?" They're usually yes. It's exactly this. Never had the dream myself. I don't typically remember my dreams.
Neither of, I mean, I remember some of my dreams, but not specifically a dream like that.
But like straight up, this could be a different question, maybe a dream episode. But uh, memory of what goes on in my head, and black that I remember. Right, I don't experience in the way that a lot of people do. Unless if it's bad, right? A bad dream, I kind of am
Hmm.
like, oh, I know what happened then, because I have a heart in the middle of my sleep right now. Um, this is beyond those who have visited the mall, even.
Mm.
Intriguingly, encompass individuals who have never even set foot in this physical space. The dreams and shared evoke a sense of connection, as it had collectively experienced the mall in a past life or maybe an alternate reality.
Mm.
There, I mean, you've probably had a sense of deja vu before, right?
Oh yes. Oh, definitely.
What do you think is the more, I guess, version of a deja vu that?
Strange version of it. Is another term called Mandela effect or whatever.
No,
I don't
no,
know. Oh,
no.
oh, I'm thinking of something different, but
A Mandela effect is a way that you've remembered something that turns out to not be true.
okay, but this is something
Deja
that
vu is something that you've never even experienced it this way. Like
but
you've never feel like you have.
okay, deja vu moments I have experienced. I mean, yes, I remember. I know what deja vu is, but yeah, yes, I have experienced it.
Like, what's the craziest version? That's the question. Like,
Or just like
the
or
craziest
just like
example.
let's just say like any just routines I have during the day. It's like, wait a minute, I feel like I've done days ago and I'm doing this again. Or how about let's just say a table then doesn't matter. If and I have this feeling, oh, I've done this before. I mean,
So
something.
yours stem from a repeated action again and again, and something that you have done before, so it just feels like you're doing it again, right? But the craziest bit of deja vu is a straight up. I know I've never, at least before actually one, and yet, and I've never seen any clips. I don't even watch trailers anymore, and I'm able to recite 10 minutes dialogue from a movie, from a show, whatever, that I've never seen before.
Mm.
Perfectly. I'm like, oh, and then the white cat comes in and then says this line. I could recite 10 minutes. Doesn't happen often. it's happened twice. There were points. The first one was the first time that it ever happened was it was um I think that's the one that I read thing in episode 4. But for some reason, about 10 minutes, I was like, I've seen this before.
Even though
And yet there's no document of me actually watching it because I use my anime list, right? I log in. That's besides the point. But there's a collective experience that people have where they've gone to this place without going to this. Every single apparently says that they start of the Hot Topic that used to be, but the layout is almost always the 2006 version
of Hot Topic.
of Hot Mall, right? This Lucid Dream, it's like the 2006,
Oh,
2007, 2008 layout.
instead of like having the glass, like the rails, like or
Like
something.
it's not Buffalo Wild Wings. It is, I think, a different type of Charlie's.
Yep, I have family that remembers the mall, so I'd have to ask
But like
them
the
that remembers it a
2006
long time ago.
version is what everybody, even if they weren't born yet, they're like, this is the dream, and I've hit it. Right. That's what people are like.
Yeah.
It's pretty freaky. Um, this annex adds to a layer of intrigue to Crystal Mall's narrative. It weaves a mysterious thread into its storied history. The dream phenomenon, with its shared experience and consistent outcomes, remains an uncharted facet that captivates the imagination and adds an element of mysticism to the mall's already rich tapestry. Makes me think that maybe, who knows, maybe that could have been a burial ground, right? Like a Native American burial ground come under that, so it makes things kind of freaky with people sleep, or maybe it's we expect things that actually would be the reason why. Actually,
You got there. A little research. I did find some things. Well, one thing regarding just malls in general declining. Kind of going back and forth, ups and the declines, but I think the first time the malls kind of going action is in 2001. Well, yeah, 2001. The underperforming and vacant, known as the gray field or dead malls, like they're starting to become an emerging problem here. And then in 2007, which was around the time the Great Recession happened, like no new malls for the first years, at least, were being built in the States. And then, I mean, they were still building new ones around this time. For the first time, there was no new malls. And then in 2012, we did get a mall that opened up in Salt Lake City. There's just been a lot of things. Yep, retail. Like the recession also played a part, though.
yeah.
Yep. But now let's 50s here. When or it wasn't really called a mall, but it would be called an enclosed shopping center, which would then be called a shopping mall. And by the mid 1950s, the malls started becoming a little more mainstream. And one of the earliest examples, the Valley Fair Shopping Center in Appleton, Wisconsin, in which opened on March 10th, 1955.
Wisconsin.
Oh yes,
Wisconsin.
the Swissconsin here.
Yeah.
But just shopping complex was pioneered in 1956 by the Austrian-born architect and American immigrant Victor Gruen. Correct correct me if I spelled his last name wrong to anyone in the comments. But so I would say like in the 50s, 60s, and 70s is when just the modern concepts of the malls started taking place. I'll say malls have been on the decline is like open air shopping centers, which is essentially an outdoor mall.
Right.
I mean, I've noticed we're becoming a thing. I mean, I could totally be, this is just based on my observations. This could be totally different. But, I mean, do I even have to say the next thing that really impacted malls? We've talked about this at least a number of times regarding like businesses and movie theaters. But that impact, but eventually,
Right.
like, but off the top of my head, but I do know malls that are doing pretty well, which one of them being the Providence Place Mall in, well, Providence, Rhode Island.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
in the West Mall in Connecticut, that's been doing well. The Natick Mall in Massachusetts, just because, like, no, I guess well-known stores, but also it's bigger. The mall big.
Right.
Yeah, but then yeah, a lot of them started going out of business in the 2010s. You know, like you said, they were talking about converting malls into other attractions, like I guess like a gym, movie theaters. Well, you said universities.
Yeah,
I
different
mean,
things like that. Right.
but yeah, they'll just something else. How about like one of those like indoor amusement pavilion?
True. That could definitely work. Like maybe an indoor like mini golf sort of thing.
That maybe that's like a laser tag place.
But totally.
There's maybe if there's a new factory, we need baseballs. Well, we can open up a baseball factory in a dead mall area. If you're just one of those folks that are in, or doesn't have to just be baseballs, but it could just be any factory. Yeah, I mean, of course, they're all around the world too, and like they're small malls, and then there's those large ones.
Yeah.
Before we close, like JC Penney is doing right now.
That's something where it's like it's an era which, like many monuments, I feel like there should be some left over, right? I don't think every single mall should shut down, even if it's like just to make it like a museum, right? Like this is how people shopped back before Amazon took over the world, right? But
But no,
it's it sucks because we're from a generation who was kind of the transition period. We experienced, I mean, definitely not the 80s version, but we experienced a decently popular mall type of experience. We've experienced that. We've also seen the transition from that to digital marketplaces. We've seen that.
like we are kind of a generation we experienced a lot of transition periods. Yeah, definitely. We both sides of the spectrum. We got the popular mall all the way to the dead mall.
Right. It is always unfortunate whenever things like that happen, but it is also one of those eventuality things. Like all things are kind of designed to. Nobody lives forever. Nothing lasts forever. Um,
And
even
also,
eventually, and someday, probably not going to be in our lifetime, but it's probably going to happen. Hopefully by then, people can figure out how to, I don't know, actually leave the world behind.
I mean, yeah, that's the same. This also does boil down to effect of, of course, nostalgia moments where we enjoyed them all,
Right.
like where you spent a lot of time there, and because we're kind of transitioning to like digital marketplace or online, of course, there's going to be those are saying, "Oh, this is better," but yeah, I mean, it's existed,
It
mall,
happens.
just like online, they can coexist depending on like what you're doing, right?
Tot-
But yeah, uh, if you have, I mean, we did talk about a lot here, so I want to hear you guys' thoughts. What your past mall experience is? What is your favorite store? What is your favorite place to eat? Or what's the one thing at the mall that you would get every time you go? Let's talk about it in the comments. So, well, if you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to do so. If you don't want to miss another video or podcast, click the notification bell so you never miss a video.
Because we promise more is coming on the way.
Definitely. Oh, and in case you have not noticed, or I'm sure you have, we've been doing YouTube Shorts where, I mean, explain it as it's in the name. It's a short video where we talk about, just facts or just random shower thoughts or just really anything. It could just be like, oh, I have a piece of paper from 1945. What letter would this be? Of course, but yeah, check those out if you haven't already. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you again soon.
Have a great one, everyone.
Okay.